Well, hi, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me here. It's September 19th, and hopefully today's the last day I work on this radio. And the last thing is to do the alignment one last time. And there we go. So, a couple last things to do with the dial. I've got to put this locking ring on, which is just going to take about a moment to do. Okay, there we are, and then the pointer. I'm not going to get far without the pointer. I don't want to put the pointer on so far that it interferes with the dial, so I'm just going to put it on like that. We need to look at carefully where the pointer ends here. Adjusting this is really quite a problem. I'm not too anxious to do it. Let's just see. Now, according to the instructions, as I understand it, you close the capacitor. It's closed. And when all is done right, this thing should be 1/16 of an inch past the starting point dot. Well, the starting point dot is right behind the pointer here. It's right on the dot is where it is. I'm not going to adjust that. That involves loosening off the center shaft back here and doing stuff that for 1/16 of an inch, I don't think it's not going to be worth it. It's too much chance of something going wrong there. His feet keep coming off. Okay, but I'm not going to put the glass on for now. We're going to continue just like this. I can hear a cat calling in the background. You probably didn't hear it, but I did. I have to go investigate. Oh. Somebody here? Are you here? Oh, for crying out loud. I just turn on the camera and guess who's here? What are you looking for, Peanut? Peanut. Hey. You. Don't talk to my feet. Talk to me. Up here. Up here. Yeah. What are you looking for? Oh, that was out. He lowered his voice. He's getting impatient. Yeah, lowered voice. Okay, well that was it for that little session. I gotta go deal with my cat here. Okay, hold the fort for a second on the alignment issue. I think I've come across something I've overlooked to this point. Something that I think I really do need to take care of before sending this radio back home. So here's the power coming in from the outlet here, which it's not plugged into anything. So here it is coming in here, and it reaches this black block you can see here with a big screw going through it right here. It's screwing it down to the chassis. And then we have these two terminals here. On one side you've got the power cable connected, and the other side is heading off into the radio. This is heading for the power transformer and that. What's going on here? But we've got something hooked up right to the power cord. What's the action here? So let's take a look at the schematic. Yeah, this is something I've overlooked at this point. May not be affecting the operation of the radio, but there's something about it that's just a little bit on the dangerous side. Let's take a look. Now we don't need to look at this sideways. Okay, so if we look down here at the plug, you see the plug is basically through a switch into the primary, out of the primary, and back to the plug. It's not going anywhere too complicated, except these guys here. Inside that block I showed you are two capacitors, two fairly small capacitors, 0.015 microfarads. That's quite small. Two of them here Each one's hooked up to one side of the line, and then they're hooked together, and then they're attached to the chassis. That screw I showed you holding the block down to the chassis is the chassis connection. This is quite common in Philco radios. They use these capacitor blocks to do stuff like this. The thing about this is, look where the switch is. The switch is here. That means you plug this radio in, and these capacitors are energized across each other, right through each other. That doesn't matter about this ground connection. There's 120 volts sitting right across these two capacitors all the time, 24/7 when this is plugged in. So what condition are those capacitors in? Well, they haven't blown up here or done anything funny in my shop, but what if one of these were to short out? Well, really, what if both of them shorted out? I guess that's what the odds of this happening are pretty low, but if both of them shorted out, well, you'd have a dead short right across. What if they began to leak badly? You could have this radio plugged in, sitting in your basement rec room. You haven't even looked at it for 4 days. And during that time, the leak has increased in here. There's a thermal runaway effect with these kinds of sort of semiconducting things, if I can call it a semiconducting thing. It gets hotter and hotter, more and more current, and the next thing you know, this thing is heated right up and it's starting a fire. You're not even turning it on, you're not even at home. You've left home, you've gone to the cottage, and your house is on fire now because these things quit. Okay, that's a bit of a long scenario there, but it's possible. Let's just look where this wire's going. Why are they showing this wire going all the way up to here? Right to the ground connection on the back of the set. So I think it probably behooves me to change these. I've got proper capacitors for this kind of duty. I think they're called Y-type capacitors. Not sure I've got them that small, but we'll take a look and figure out a convenient way of replacing them. The block is very convenient in the radio. It gives a nice strong terminals to hook up the plug wire to, and then the opposite side of the same terminals, the wires go off, over to here to the winding and the like. How important are these capacitors? I believe their job is essentially to provide a place for RF to be filtered out of the power line. I think that's part of it. I don't think that's the whole thing. I think there's more to it. So, okay, let me take a look at the block again and figure out a convenient way of replacing these, or this guy. Okay, back we go. Okay, so we're looking at the block here, and I'm just looking for a pointer. Here we are. So again, ground connection here. Well, it's got a terminal with nothing hooked up to it, but a little bit of solder hanging on it. And then we have these two terminals. So there's a capacitor running from here to here, and another one running from here to here. And so internally they are in series with each other here. I can see my best bet here is to try to put a terminal strip in this area. Interestingly enough, there's a ground right here, but I don't think that's of any. That's interesting. There's a ground right here. I can see the. I can't quite see all of it. Yeah, it's just this black wire attached to it, which is going a long ways through this radio. Wow. I don't know where it's going. It's going. Oh, this is the wire that goes to the ground terminal on the back of the radio. That's interesting because in the schematic they sort of kind of give you the hint it's coming from this point, but it's actually just coming off the chassis here and then heading over. So this is supposedly a reliable chassis connection point. These terminals are really close by. I'd love to use these, but I don't think I can because inside is a capacitor. I can't do anything about it. They're connected together with two capacitors in series. yeah. So, but if I could use this ground point, I could eliminate this ground point. That doesn't help much. Once this whole block starts flopping around, if I want to leave it in the radio, I wonder if I can attach a terminal strip under this screw here. That's an interesting idea. Let me get out some terminal strips here and we'll see. You know, my journey in life has somehow enabled me to acquire some stuff. I have a few terminal strips here. I'm looking for a real simple one. Just a little. That's fairly simple. Well, these all seem to be this size, or they all seem to be that size or even bigger. Oh. Well, that's a little different looking one there. Whoops, that's a little different. Here, we're just getting a little out of focus. What do I do with it? I've never seen one quite like that. So these connections are not touching the ground at all. That's interesting. Here's one with just two. Well, that would be just perfect. Can that fit in here? So I'm looking to make sure its clearance on the bottom is good. It is. So I could use this. Now, can I bring these wires all the way there? These are stiff, you see. I don't want to be moving them. Okay, another option here would be to solder the center point of the two capacitors down onto this terminal. That should make them fairly rigid. And then on the other side of the capacitors, connect two wires. So these wouldn't have to go far. I can bend the capacitor terminals any way I want them, and this is flexible. So that would give me the two capacitors tied to ground in the middle and two terminals to connect these wires right in proximity here. That's the way it's got to be done. That's the way it's got to be done. Sorry guys, you're just going to have to go back. You had your chance, but you didn't come through. You're just not suitable. Sorry man, nothing personal. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make those changes, and this will make the radio much safer. The potential for burning your house down won't be so high. That says something about leaving these old radios plugged in the wall all the time. Some of them are like this, and the capacitors are always energized. Okay, so I've soldered in two special capacitors here for this, designed for this kind of duty. And you can see I've got the wires coming up right where the terminals are. Just going to transfer the wires down onto here, and we're done. Okay, got those installed here. The wires are not sticking out. This isn't the best deal having this kind of poking up right here, but this is inside the radio, so I'll just bend it a little further down. There we go. Okay, so my aim was to align this radio today, but I'm not going to get to it. I had to spend quite a bit of time with my cat. he was looking for a lap time or something like that. So that has limited my shop time this morning. Plus, it's a beautiful, beautiful day outside. It's very cool, but it's sunny all day. I do live in sunny Aurelia. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to operate the radio, kind of check out its performance, make sure I understand that. And then tomorrow we can do the alignment. Now that everything is nice and safe here, let's tip it down. Okay, come on down here. We're going to get a look at the dial face. Okay, so the volume switches off to start. And I have to get an antenna. There's no antenna. I have to get an antenna. Let's study these antenna connections here. What I have here in my shop, I have a nice loop antenna that has 2 leads which need to come over, and there's 3 terminals here. I got 2 leads coming over and 3 terminals to choose from. Now one of these is the chassis ground, as we discovered right here. And if you see, this one also leads to a chassis ground. So the black terminal, kind of the same thing. We have this here, A1, A2. I'm thinking this is a switch that opens depending upon which band you're on. It's not clear to me. So, but it certainly looks like a switch. So let's see, in the position it's shown right now, maybe there's a statement, all switches shown in some way. I don't see any notes anywhere. Okay, typically you would hook up a loop antenna to 2 isolated terminals which would feed a transformer which would feed into the grid. There's 2 transformers here. We can guess one is for AM and the other is for shortwave. I would think the switch is probably involved in the band selection. So which is which? Is there a hint? Antenna range 1. Antenna range 2. What do I mean by that? Antenna range, oscillator range 2. Well, why didn't they just write, okay, broadcast, I don't know what, range 1, range 2, what are those? Antenna range 2, range 1. Oscillator range 1, range 2. Will somebody tell me what 1 and 2 is? Well, we can figure out from these coils. So this says range 1 and there's a lot of turns, and this says range 1 and there's a lot of turns in there and much less over here. This got to be shortwave. So range 1 got to be broadcast. That kind of makes sense. Range 1 would be this one. So on AM we want the signal going through here. So conceivably what's happening is when you switch this to shortwave, this switch is closed and the range 1 primary is energized, and that's what energizes the grid. Then when you open the switch, the signal continues to go through here, but it also goes through here now. And this guy is tuned to shortwave, so he's going to transfer a lot of energy this way. This one won't transfer much energy. Oh, there's another switch here. So perhaps this closes. This opens, this closes. Maybe that's what's happening here. And of course with this closed, this is just out of the picture. That would make sense because you're transferring energy over to here. You're going to waste some, and fooling around in here. Really want all the energy pumped onto the grid here. So maybe that makes sense to short this out when this is open and all that kind of stuff. So I think I got the picture. So what that says to me is hook up the loop antenna here. When I set the radio to broadcast, it will energize this coil and everything will work fine. When it comes time to use the shortwave antenna, I could attach it here again, live guy here, and the other terminal here, the coax on the cable antenna feed coming into my shop here. Why they even got this? This is always grounded. I don't know the answer to that question. So rather than listen to more silence, I'm going to go ahead and hook up here. I think I've done this before and it worked fine. But I wanted to look at this a little more closely because we're in the final run. We're in the final leg of the radio race here. I'd like to win the radio race. Okay, so this is coming from the loop antenna. the back. There, stand up a little taller, would you please? There. And step aside just a wee bit. Okay, on the back here, first I gotta do a little strain relief. In case you're wondering why I have blue lights down here. I didn't want blue lights, that's what I got. That's one of those lighting strips under here, and it's bluish. Okay. Now let me just read the letters there more carefully. I can actually use this camera to do that. Just quickly switched cameras. I'm looking now at the back of the radio. Well, it's pretty obvious. Red. Good. Okay, let me clip on there. When you clip onto the screws, sometimes like this, sometimes the screw, it actually doesn't make a very good connection when it's loose. So I'd rather get on this little thing here, but that's a little better. Let's do this one too, like that. It's probably actually a little better like that. Okay. Loop antenna connected. Now it's time to actually play this radio. The two capacitors I put in probably have no bearing on the operation of the radio, but might have reduced some of the interference noise coming in, maybe. Okay, now you can come back down. There we are. Switch is off, plug is in. Power through the dim bulbs, nothing happening because the switch is off. Okay, here we go. Now, certainly because I put those capacitors right on the power line, you would not want to start this radio without having some kind of protection like this or something, I would think, because mistakes get made. But it looks like I didn't make a mistake here. Let's turn it up. Turn it up. How do you turn it up? Over here. There we are. It's about 30% volume. Now, that's tone. Dirt and a switch. Band. Dirt and that switch too. Ooh. Well, we're going to want to deal with those before we do the alignment. For now, it seems okay. What can we pick up? I don't know where I've got the antenna tuned. We'll go down right around 590 here. What happened? Boo. I have to deal with this sooner. Hey, what's going on here? Getting some weird effect. You know what? We're running this with very low voltage. 65 volts. That's unbelievable. Okay, let's go a little higher. Screw in another bulb there. Well, it's still not very high, but let's see if this weird effect is still there. 80 volts now. Still way too low. Okay. Let's go full voltage now. The plate has a lovely lighting. It doesn't look that great on the camera. Still doesn't. But to the eye, it's fantastic. Really happy with how that came out. Okay. Well, it could be the antenna is so poorly tuned. Let's put it right in the area here. Right around 590. Okay, I'm going to tune the antenna. Oh, the antenna's in the wrong direction too. I didn't even turn it. Well, that didn't come out good. My expectation was we would hear that come through the radio quite loud. There's dirt in the capacitor ground. But for a moment there, what? The station came through loud and clear. Let's go on that basis. Okay, we got more problems here to deal with. Wire. So what we're going to do, spray some cleaner and lubricant into the capacitor here. Okay, I'm going to use the expensive stuff, deox it. Even though I have trouble believing you can remove oxidation with something like this. So this is can you see where I'm spraying it? Right here. You hear that? Just touching it is causing an issue. There's a sliding ground contact there. Looks like it's only on the one side. That's probably good enough. Yeah, there's another one right here. Now, let's see if we can get rid of some of those squeaks, because that's not very nice. I don't want a squeaky old radio. Okay, so this is WD-40 now, and it would just look to me like a shaft here. Oh, tripping it all over the place. Okay, it looks like there's a sleeve. Must be a sleeve arrangement up in here somewhere. Some kind of bearing. Right here. Doing all the squeaking. I've gotten some of it. Right up in here. So I'm doing this with the radio switched on. Duh. Not hearing much out of it. The duh part was me forgetting the radio was switched on. Yeah, so I'm going to try to get in here. Most of these capacitors have ball bearings right in there. You still want to make noise. Okay, I'm going to go for a bearing up here. I'll have to start. start really trying to. What's with this? It's not spraying anything. There we go. Making spray sounds, but the last part would be right up in here. Just a little wee bit. Oh, that's more than a little bit. You know what I think it might be? It might not even be any of that. I thought it was just lubricating. Oh, it's worth lubricating it all. It could be this sliding contact thing, which we never figured out what that is. Well, that's just as smooth as can be now. Wow. Wow, that's really loose. Okay, that's done. Still squeaking. I think the grounding problem is probably solved. Okay, Mr. Radio. Okay, I'm just going to leave it here. Running with 112 volts. Just doesn't sound like there's anything there at all. Okay, so I'm going to tune the antenna. See if I tune the antenna to the same frequency, the radio should come to life with a lot of hiss. What's happening? Oh my gosh. Where'd it go? So it's possible I'm not on the broadcast band? Is it possible? No, we heard a voice come out of it. I'm pretty sure this is shortwave. Well, I've really done it in, haven't I? I've done this radio completely in. Okay, let's do some real crude testing here. About as crude as it gets. Now, I'm not grounded. I'm not grounded. Hey. Okay. Was it just a lucky hit? First thing I touch? Come on. Really? I'm sticking my fingers down in a working radio here. Try pushing it just like this. It's the grid cap connection, I believe. So these grid caps here, they have a metal clamp that goes on the top of the cap. That clamp is made of steel, and the reason it's made of steel is because it has some springiness. They'd make it of copper if they could, but you can't because copper has no springiness in it. So to get the springy grip, they use steel. Problem is you can't solder a wire to steel. So what they do is they just make a compression connection. They just have a piece of metal wrapped around the wire here and squeeze down tight. I think that's where the problem is. Maybe not. It's either the tube contacts or this. How am I going to tell the difference? Well, I don't think it's that. Well, it's working now. Yes, it's an old radio. You can't escape the fact it's an old radio. If that acts up again, we'll deal more directly with it. Oh, thank God. I was getting very worried there. French station, just coming in like crazy. The French station is at 840. Yeah, just coincidentally set the antenna to the right tuning slot.
rassurer, puis si on les rencontre, il y a quelque chose comme une humanité qui émerge, puis peut-être qu'on peut pas faire changer ça. Mais minimalement, on aurait peut-être pu comprendre d'où ça venait, puis je pense qu'il y a un lien. Bon, la presse plus a changé sa section débat pour la nommer la section.
You know what? I just happened to tune that antenna to the right spot for this station. Well, this is the station I regularly use to test these radios. And some radios have a very hard time picking this up. Listen to it. Not much volume.
Je vais m'emporter, je vais être émotif, je vais être pas d'accord, je vais être confronté, alors que si la section s'appelle dialogue, on va tous se prendre par la main, puis juste jaser, tu sais. Mais j'entends ce que tu penses, c'est pas faux. Mais je pense que ça peut faire partie un petit peu du changement de perspective. Dialoguer, ça veut pas dire nécessairement que les idées vont pas justement se passer peut-être en fait plus fortement d'une certaine façon. Mais les idées, pas les
Gail Garnett right there with the number 18 song of this day in 1964, and she ticks me off. Not because there's anything wrong with her, it's just that I am lacking.
So this looks like 710. 710 is coming from the city of St. Catharines, which is near Niagara Falls.
Actress, playwright, she did everything. And I can't do that. But what I can do is bring you number 19, 20, and 21 this day in 64. So let me do that. I'll do it right after this.
Hi, I'm Terry Cass, co-founder of the Herzog Eye Institute. Are you sick of glasses and reading glasses, contacts and cataracts? Your vision will change through your lifetime, especially after 40. At Herzog, we have the world-class surgeons and proven advanced technology to help you adjust to those changes. Turn frustration to celebration. Google
Let's check something
Herzog
else.
Eye Institute.
Direction of the
Call us
antenna.
for a consultation. There's no charge.
Oh no, I can't be out of ink. Not now.
Okay, no question that antenna is doing its job.
30 times the ink.
If this is 710, I've never heard it this well. Here. Could be 680 if the dial's way up. Yeah, maybe it's 680.
Get a Canon Megatank printer, so you don't have to think about
You have to wait.
for a long, long time. Visit canon.ca/megatank for details.
The engagement rings are out in the open at Spence.
You just pick them up.
Try them on
Look at the price tag.
and smile. You never have to act like Oliver Twist, asking for another bowl of porridge.
Say, sir, can I see that one, please?
You will never experience a moment like that at Spence Blank.
You'll try on hundreds of designer prototypes,
From all the world's top designers. You choose your ring,
and then we make it for you
you get a much better ring.
at a much better price.
Spence. Located in Vaughan, Scarborough, and Mississauga. Arts presents money you didn't know you had. Savings and discounts exclusively for
Oh my
carpenters.
gosh, come on,
Ready
too
to
many ads.
tackle your next renovation project? Royal Home Improvements has you covered with all-inclusive service. From design and engineering to construction and decorating. CARP members can save the tax on their next home renovation project. Not yet a member? Sign up online and start saving in minutes. Go to carp.ca. Money you didn't know you had? Well, now you know.
If you want to party with the biggest
More ads,
artists of the
holy
60s,
smokes.
70s, and 80s, it helps to know some of them personally. If you want to host the party, your name better be Robbie Lane. Summer Radio has your VIP pass to the original greatest hits from the greatest decades in music. Listen for Robbie Remembers, the 60s at 6, 70s at 7, 80s at 8, and the 9 o'clock mix. Party on with our own original greatest hit, Robbie Lane, weeknights on Zoomer Radio.
Zoomer Radio, did he say? I thought he said Zoomer Radio there. What's that? I gotta get off the music. I'll get a copyright hit for sure.
Tell you about sports at 45.
The TSX by more than 200 points, only moving higher after the latest inflation data, while the Dow and the Nasdaq each see triple-digit declines. Business at 56.
Sleepy News
time, 11:31.
Time for traffic and weather together on the one.
I think this is 680 here. It's way off.
Craig Gear.
This report is brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Nothing is moving on the Toronto band or
For sure. That's definitely 680 news channel.
Check us out at SubaruNet.com.
I'm worried about how bad our heating bill could be this year.
590. It's pretty. Wait a minute. You can't have 590 in the right spot. You can't have 590 in the right spot and 680 not in the right spot. So that's right on the money, practically.
Price of the season on heat pumps while inventory lasts. Plus, Mr. Furnace will help you get up to $6,000 in government rebates.
More
Go to
advertisements.
Mr. Furnace today and let the pros in the green trucks save you big bucks. It doesn't matter if you're a biker or a Baptist. If
Come
you
on.
want stories and laughter or silent
You know,
tranquility.
I just can't imagine that's not 590.
Whether your budget is limited or large. Hi, I'm George Dart of George Dart Funeral Chapel. And I'm Ernie Morgan of Morse and Son Funeral Home. The only thing a funeral absolutely has to be is
Okay,
whatever
so what
you
we're gonna
want it
do-
to be. George Dart Funeral Chapel.
Because tomorrow when I do the alignment, I'll be making absolutely sure of these frequencies. What I'm noticing now is it doesn't seem to be quite right, but I'm getting a little bit confused. Messages. This goes to an outdoor antenna, so we're going to try an outdoor antenna on here, and I'm going to leave it tuned just as it was. Just going to stick this on now. The antenna's not switched on. This is a cable to nowhere right now. Let's see what we get with a cable to nowhere. So I'm going to put the ground on the black terminal. I hear something. And the other one. This radio's trying to pick up stuff without an antenna. And now I'm going to run. I'm going to leave the video going. I'm going to run and throw the antenna switch. You'll get to hear the effect. I'll be in the other part of my house though. Here I go. Well, it's not much effect, is it? Gives you an idea of the difference between a loop antenna and a wire antenna. It's there, but okay. Let's try the shortwave band, because now I have a using a long wire to receive AM broadcast is not going to work out well, but on shortwave it should. Let's see what we get. So we're starting at 6 megahertz. We're not going to expect anything until up around here. Getting 9.3 up here.
Jesus Christ, you were back perfectly to the point of death and took our penalty, our curse, and our sin, opens the door for the grace of God to be poured out to everyone.
Grace of God. I don't know, grace of God? Read the Passover story and ask yourself, what was God doing there? Grace? Okay, so we're on our way up into this area here. What's happening right in there? Now there's a lot of activity on the sun right now. Could be a shortwave blackout happening. Could be, it's 11:30 in the morning. It's not really the best time to be doing this. I would hope to get something up high here, though. We're flying right by stuff. Very hard to tune this radio. I think we'd be pretty sure it's picking stuff up from the antenna. But just one station would make me feel a lot better. Very hard to tune. It's usually a strong station around 15,770. Oh, I'm way up on 16. I'm looking at the wrong dial. It's a usual mistake. Let's go back down here. Come on, anybody. I'm on the wrong antenna. I have two antennas. I'm thinking I'm on the wrong antenna. There's that weird quiet spot. Don't know why that is. Okay, so I wanted to do a fair bit of that to make sure I had a good grip on the performance of the radio. Performance of the antenna is an issue too here. So I think, based on the fact that it picked up the strong signal at 9.330, the radio's receiving. There's just not much out there to receive right now. Wrong time of day, possible interference from a blast from the sun, causing effects in our atmosphere. Hard to say without doing more investigation. Tomorrow I will do the alignment. I think we're ready for it. And that's good. Good show. I think it's good. Beautiful on broadcast band. I have another smaller loop antenna to experiment in here with too. So thanks a lot for watching today. And tomorrow we'll do the alignment. That's what I'm claiming right now. See ya.